Hi, I'm Sarah from The Upcoming. A real pleasure to be able to speak to you today about this incredible new series, and of course, based on the iconic film you're involved with, I think 25 years ago. Don't know, it makes me feel very old. So maybe you could just kick off with an introduction. What can people expect from the new show on Disney?
So we fast forward 25 years later. All the guys are still together. We find them still in Sheffield, and their life has kind of not really gone in the direction that I think they would have hoped. And each individual character has got their own kind of struggles that they're trying to navigate through. So yeah, my character Nathan is now a police officer, which doesn't go down very well with his father, who is, let's just say, on the other side of the law, maybe. And he's got a son of his own. And I suppose his main objective throughout his life and throughout the series is to just get the best life possible for his son.
And to cast your mind back all those years ago, I mean, it was your first sort of role on screen, if I'm right about that. Tell us a bit about how it all came about. And I guess no one maybe could have predicted how that film would have just caught people's imaginations, not just here in the UK, but like worldwide. You know, it was such a hit. So it must have been quite a whirlwind experience for you as a young lad.
That's the correct word, a complete whirlwind. I mean, yeah, so I'd never done any acting before. The casting director came into my junior school and basically asked, did anybody want to be in a film? Quite a few kids put their hand up, including myself. I think I had like 8 or 9 different auditions. Yeah, to go through the process. The last one being with Robert Carlyle, Roberto Pasolini, Simon Beaufoy, Peter Catania, the director. And it just, yeah, I got the part, and it was amazing. And we shot for, I think, 6 weeks over the summer in 1996. And yeah, I mean, nobody thought that it was going to do what it did. You know, it was a low budget film, and it was just such a great shoot. But I mean, I think as a kid, I was like, oh, it's going to be a huge hit, because that's what movies do. Do you know what I mean? I didn't realize that some films get made and then they sit on a shelf and nobody gets to see them again. And I think once it got out to the States, and people got to see it, and and started to resonate with these characters, it just got a lot of traction. And then yeah, it came over to the UK. So I think it was released in the States first. And yeah, everybody just took it to their heart, and I'm incredibly proud to be part of it.
And what do you think it was about that original film? I mean, I think in the UK we're great lovers of a good underdog story, and I guess kind of sort of the very original premise of the whole thing. But there's also kind of that feeling, which again I think you find in a lot of British kind of things that are comedy with tragedy interlaced in it, and there's a lot of sort of like a political undercurrent there, thinking of the aftermath of living through sort of Thatcher's Britain. So maybe it's a combination of all of those things. What do you think were the things that really struck a chord with people?
I think yeah, you're absolutely right. I think that's what Simon does so well, is he writes really, really full, thickened out characters that have got so much going on about them that I just feel like people can just relate. I feel like situations. I feel that's when this with the series as well, that a lot of people are going through these things and they can relate to them, and actually it's quite nice to go, we're not in this. So I think it was that. I just think that his writing is just so incredible.
The other thing that I really remember, sort of like when I cast my mind back to the film, is it felt at the time maybe one of the first movies that really sort of tackled kind of masculinity and this kind of new way of like, okay, these are these guys that used to being the breadwinners, working in a very particular kind of industry, and suddenly they've sort of lost their purpose. And I think that's something we're still talking about today. Like, what does masculinity mean in our modern age, where gender roles and everything are shifting? And so it's really interesting to kind of revisit that again now, and seeing these male characters then also facing the trials and tribulations of like being faced with the next generation, and all the sort of blunders they make about being PC or how to handle bullying and things like that. So do you think also that's like a really interesting thing to look at in the film and in the new series?
Yeah, definitely. And do you know what? I've not really thought about it like that until you mentioned it. But that's why I love these things, and we can discuss with people and see what direction their mind takes them on certain projects. So yeah, no, I love that.
And what did you think when you first got the call about the show, and what was it like getting the sort of the band back together, particularly working with Robert Carlyle, such an incredible actor, and I imagine he's a lot of fun to work with.
100%. I mean, all of them are in their own way, like are just incredible, and they're like family, and they were like family doing the film, and even more so now that I've been able to have the pleasure of being in their lives for the last 25 years and getting advice off them, and not just about the industry, about life, and they really are just incredible. But yeah, when I got the call, I sat right here actually, and it was Simon Buffoy, and just sort of said, it's been, this is in motion. What do you think? You wanna come back? I was like, I mean, yeah, of course. It was a no-brainer, because this was the first ever job that I'd ever done, and the full Monty film, and it put me on this crazy career that is my career, that I absolutely love. And once we discussed a little bit more about where he saw Nathan go in, and the rest of the characters and the storylines, he read a couple of scripts, I was like, this is brilliant. This is just so perfect, because I think I've thought at points in my life, I went, oh, what Nathan's doing now, and I couldn't have predicted where he was, and but I think it's absolutely perfect where he put him. So yeah, I remember actually one of my first day of filming was in the cafe, and we we were all there basically, and I kind of wheeled my son in, and I remember I was meant to have a line, and I just went, I'm so sorry guys, we're gonna have to do this again, because this is just bonkers to have you all in the same room 25 years later, but not just as these characters that we did in a movie nearly 100 years ago. So yeah, it has just been an absolute dream, and and Bobby, yeah, in particular, Robert Carlyle is just such a lovely, down-to-earth, intelligent actor and human. And yeah, he didn't recognize me at first. We were at the read-through, and I just sort of like walked towards him, and you could kind of tell he's kind of going like, this guy's making a beeline for me. And I was like, how are you doing? He's like, hi. He's like, no idea who I am, have you? And he's like, absolutely not. And I was like, it's your son, Dad. And he's like, oh my God, Wim. So yeah, just a dream to be part of it.
And also kind of getting kind of the fresh blood as well into, the cast, people like Talitha, that must have been quite nice as well, almost kind of passing on the baton or something, or, like that maybe you could see yourself reflected in them, sort of being, maybe at the beginning of their careers and then coming into the fold in the show as well.
Yeah. I mean, especially Aidan Cook, who plays Twiglet, it's a sort of very similar story with his audition. And actually, at the premiere, I invited my parents to come, and my mum was my chaperone on the original film, and Aidan was there with his parents, and his mum was his chaperone on the series. So being able to, I suppose, pass any kind of any advice that I could give to him, and yeah, just seeing those two comparisons were absolutely bonkers. But the new cast, the younger ones, I think we're calling them the young Monties. We've got the old Monties, the guys. I think I'm a middle-aged Monty, and we've got now the young Monties. But they've just been absolutely incredible. Like, their performances in the show are sublime, and they just found they fit the brief so well. They just slid right into the genre, and they just got it. And yeah, I think they're all incredible, and I'd like to see more of them.
And do you have a favorite moment on set? Something very memorable that stood out, either a highlight or a challenge, or when you watch it back, you think, oh God, that was one of my favorite scenes.
In the film or the series?
In the series, sorry.
In the series, there was this one point when we were filming in Meadowhall Shopping Centre, and it was just me and Bobby, and it was an open Meadowhall shopping centre. So as you can imagine, it was very, very hectic and busy. And nobody recognised who I was, and from the film. Obviously, they recognised Bobby, but I was in my police officer's uniform, and I kept overhearing sort of people going, "Oh, Robert Carlyle's got his own police officer, like security." And every time we would cut, like people would come up to me and going, "Can I just walk through their officer?" And I'm like, "I'm not. Yeah, just go for it." Do you know what I mean? So yeah, that was quite funny.
And, what does it mean to you, I guess, being from Sheffield, being kind of captured, sort of I guess it's kind of, the social issues that might be in a city like that in the UK, but also the warmth and the kind of generosity of spirit of the people that live there. And, maybe there aren't that many films or shows that capture that. And I guess even having the premiere there must have been a really nice moment.
God, yeah, but just to bring it back to the people of Sheffield, being there filming it, because we did film most of it there, like 80%, I'd say, was just a joy in so many ways, because the city itself, I mean, I am biased because I am originally from there, but the city itself is beautiful. It's so cinematic. It's set on 7 hills. Everywhere you look is just, you go, oh, that'd be a great shot, So there's that. But then you've got the people there, and they're just the loveliest, kindest, warmest, group of people you could ever come across. And I remember this one time we were filming, and we had to close. You have to close streets and stuff when you're filming out on the road. And I've done films and TV shows before when people have really kicked off and gone, you filming on. And I remember when we were filming, the series, a lady came out and was like, "Does who wants a cup of tea?" There's 100 crew members there, and she's offering like cups of tea to everybody. And that's just Sheffield in a nutshell, And I feel like in Simon's writing and Alice Nutter's writing in the series, they capture it so well. This community of people that they're not for themselves, they're for everybody, and I feel like that's what the series has got: community.
And in terms of the takeaways, I mean, a bit like the original film, like we said, there's so many laugh out loud comedy moments. But, underneath it, there are some serious messages. And I guess in terms of looking at, even the opening credits mentioning, how many different prime ministers we've gone through. And maybe we haven't progressed as far as you would have hoped, or you would think the characters might be thinking they would. Actually, has austerity been a slower burn than when there was that period of kind of unemployment? And whether you look at the NHS or, social care, all these different things. So, I guess, is it a way of kind of, even though we're using comedy, it is a way maybe to open up discussion about that and, maybe imagine a brighter future than the one we're living through at the moment?
Absolutely. Like we filmed the movie in 1996 as we were, kind of stepping out of Thatcher's Britain, and the closing of all the steel mines and steelworks and mines and stuff. And I think when we made the film, we was like, well, you can't get any worse than this. Do you know what I mean? Like, in terms of unemployment and what's going on in the world. And then, fast forward 25 years later, and we've got a failing NHS, we've got an education sector that's on its knees, we've got benefit sector that makes no sense, we've got all of these issues, and they are addressed within this series. And I think that that's what Simon and Alice do so well, is they get that balance between tragedy and comedy. It's just been so beautifully written, and I hope that these highlight issues that are going on in the world, in the country, and people take notice and do something about it, maybe when we have an expo.
And how have you found the reaction so far? Because I know it's already landed on Disney. And how's it felt just to kind of be a part of the whole thing all over again?
Just amazing, and just honestly, like, it is just, I'm living my dream right now. Like, I had so much fun doing the film, and it opened so many doors for me, and I met so many incredible people, and then just to go, oh, do you want to do that all over again, like 25 years later? It's like, yeah, of course. And getting to talk to lovely people like yourself who have really enjoyed the series, is is just lovely, you know what I mean? And I have had some incredibly beautiful messages from people on social media of how much they connected with the characters and enjoyed the series. So yeah, you know what, I can't say anything other than it's just been a dream.
And can you tell us what you might be working on next? Have you got something else in the pipeline yet, or you don't know yet?
Nothing in the pipeline at the moment. And actually, I went to a wedding a couple of days ago. Someone's like, "Oh, when you've got a moustache, what's the part? Is it like some period thing?" I was like, "No, it's just I've just got a moustache." The wife's not bullied me to get it shaved off yet, so I just basically have to wait for that moment, and then the tash will be gone. But no, not working on anything at the moment. Just riding this series and doing press and stuff like that.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for sharing all that with me. And I can't wait for everyone else to get stuck into the show, The Full Monty on Disney Plus. Thanks so much.
Pleasure, Sarah. Thank you. No, lovely to meet you.